Hey everyone, I hope you're having a great day. So I'm really excited to share this video with you because this topic is something that I am really passionate about, and honestly probably the whole reason I started this channel in the first place. So without any further ado, I'm excited, so let's just jump straight into it. So just over 6 years ago, my family turned our Wi-Fi off for good and we have not looked back since. And I want to start this video by sharing with you the whole reason why we made that decision in the first place. So around 11 years ago, I was going through two big changes in my life. Firstly, we were moving out of this current house that we're in because we were renovating it. And secondly, my youngest brother was born. And he was such a cute kid. He was so bubbly and bright and just really happy and normal. And so then about 1.5 years later, we moved back in, and this is kind of where things started to get interesting because while we were in this other house, my brother had a really healthy sleeping pattern, but this changed quite drastically, immediately, once we moved back in. Instead of sleeping through the night and staying in his own bed, he would get up in the middle of the night and then go and sleep in my mum and dad's bed. And yeah, sure, this was fine for maybe a few nights because there was a huge change happening. We just moved houses and he might have just been getting settled back in. But this went on for the next 3 years. And as you can imagine, this is not the healthiest habit for my little brother to develop. And this annoyed my parents quite a bit because they never really got a proper night's sleep. So after 3 years and my mum and dad trying so many different methods and tools to try and help him sleep more, like putting him to bed at the same time each night, it just wasn't really working. So mum decided to take him to a naturopath instead. And after mum explained her predicament, one of the very first questions the naturopath asked was, "Do you have Wi-Fi?" And mum said yes. And she said, "Do you know where your router is? And is it near where he sleeps?" And mum didn't know. So the naturopath tasked her with going home, finding the router and just turning it off for the night, just to see if it made any difference at all. So when mum got home, she found the router in the room directly below my little brother's bedroom. And so she flicked it off and then we all went to bed. And that was the first night in 3 years that he slept through the night. He did not wake up once. And I don't know, it was really comforting to know as well and finally get that answer for him and for my parents that it wasn't something they were doing wrong. It wasn't something, we know it wasn't a problem with my younger brother. It was something that we could control and something that we now knew how we could help him. And that was the biggest relief, and that was where all the surprise and excitement came from. So then from there, we decided to turn our Wi-Fi off overnight and just turn it back on in the morning so we could continue to use internet like normal during the day. And we kind of felt like we had to keep the Wi-Fi on during the day because I was in year 9 at high school, so we always had homework and assignments which we needed internet for. But after a few weeks, mum and dad, I guess, just weren't really that comfortable having Wi-Fi on all the time because if it affects our sleep so much, then surely it would affect us during the day as well. So they made the lovely announcement telling us that we would be getting rid of our Wi-Fi. And I was around 14 and a half at this time, and I hit the roof. I was going through high school and exams and assignments, homework all the time. How am I supposed to function at home and get all my homework done and assignments done without Wi-Fi? Like, my parents are just dooming me here. This is ridiculous. And so there were so many fights about turning the Wi-Fi off. And for a few weeks, my parents agreed to just, we'd have a couple of hours in the evening or night where there'd be Wi-Fi on. So we'd have to rush to get our homework done then. But this was not a sustainable or realistic option. So then they kind of just put their foot down, honestly, and said, look, we're getting rid of the Wi-Fi. We're gonna find a solution. Don't worry, but the Wi-Fi's gone. So the solution that they came up with was investing in some Ethernet cords, which are basically a direct connection from your house internet to whatever you're plugging it into. And it's basically what we were using before Wi-Fi was invented. And so obviously we've been using these Ethernet cords for a few years now. And to tell you the absolute truth, I have not once wished in the past 6 years that we had Wi-Fi. I am not missing out on anything at all. If anything, the connection through Ethernet cords is a stronger, faster, more reliable connection to the internet rather than Wi-Fi, which has the tendency to just drop out whenever. And sometimes the connection is not that strong, so it's really slow. And a benefit that I was not expecting to see through using Ethernet cords was that it allows me to separate my work and relaxing spaces at home. Because I think what I struggled with in high school was I could take my phone or computer anywhere around the house with me. And so any space in the house could potentially become a work or study space. I might write an essay in my bed, be studying while eating breakfast. So these safe, happy, peaceful spaces became contaminated with work. But with the Ethernet cords, there are only a certain number of places in my house that have access to the internet. So it allows me to keep my peaceful, relaxing spaces like my bed relaxing, and that really, really helps my sleep at night. Something I think that's important for me to share is that while my house is a Wi-Fi free zone, living in a city, I really can't get away from it. Every single cafe, school, pretty much every home has Wi-Fi. And honestly, we're working towards a future that will just be implementing stronger and stronger connections. And while I don't want to be scared of it and, have Wi-Fi or those strong connections stop me from leaving my house, it's something that I really want to be mindful of. There are a couple of reasons why I want to be kind of wary of Wi-Fi. The first one is about connection, but in a different way. What I discovered when we first turned our Wi-Fi off was that my family seemed to connect a lot more than we had in a few years. We have it set up so our Ethernet cords are all kind of in the same place, so when we want to use the internet, we're all kind of around each other. So we're interacting. It's not all the kids off in their own bedrooms, on their phones, on a screen. We're all connecting and talking. And I found that when I was younger and I would go to a friend's house, we wouldn't spend our time watching TV or on the internet. We would be talking and playing games, and that's the environment that I want my youngest brother to grow up in, not connected to a screen. And I think the more abundance we have of Wi-Fi and wireless connectivity everywhere, the less connected we become as people, as a society, as families, as friends. Wi-Fi, you can't see Wi-Fi. You can't hear it, you can't smell it. We don't really get that much of a sense that Wi-Fi is around, yet we know it's there because of the bars that come up on our phones. And it is a relatively new thing. We don't know conclusively what the effects are, and there are a lot of studies out there on EMF and Wi-Fi and mobile phone radiation, but it hasn't been around long enough to have solid, concrete, conclusive studies saying it's good or bad. The studies are more so saying we haven't found any really negative effects from it. To me, that's not really conclusive. And before I fully trust Wi-Fi, I'm gonna go with my gut instinct and saying that if it kind of disrupts my sleep, maybe I don't want to be surrounded by it 24/7. Even though I said before, you can't see, hear, touch, smell Wi-Fi, some people are affected more than others, like my younger brother, for example. And since turning Wi-Fi off, I had no idea that I was sensitive to it until we turned Wi-Fi off and I experienced life without Wi-Fi in my house. And then I realized when I go into these spaces with Wi-Fi, how much it does affect me. So normally when I sleep in my bed in my house with no Wi-Fi, I fall straight into a beautiful deep sleep. I do not wake up during the night, and I wake up feeling really rested, rejuvenated, and just ready to tackle the day. But When I go and sleep at my boyfriend's house, his family doesn't turn their Wi-Fi off overnight. And when I wake up, I feel really tired and just like I did not get a full night of restful sleep. I often have a headache and just really, really groggy. And I don't want to sit here and sound like I'm ungrateful or that I absolutely hate Wi-Fi, because I recognize and acknowledge that it has helped us and society so much. But I don't know if there's something that is this good that doesn't have any negative effects. And anytime I tell this, my family's experience and my story with Wi-Fi, I never expect them to be like my family and look, all right, turn Wi-Fi off for good, invest in Ethernet cords, that's it. Like, sure, that's great, and I definitely advocate that lifestyle. I think that's amazing and it works really well for me and my family. But I don't expect that to be the case for every single person. The biggest thing that I can say, and the most important thing in my eyes, is to get that really restful and plentiful sleep. So if you think you may be sensitive to Wi-Fi, like you have disrupted sleeps, or you wake up with a headache, or even after 8 hours of sleep, you don't really feel that rested, then, I mean, maybe try it and just turn your Wi-Fi off overnight and see how you go. There's absolutely no reason that you can't turn it off overnight when you're not even using the internet, and just turn it back on and then live your normal life. We sleep for a huge chunk of the day and we know how important sleep is for us. So I just think that if you want to make a change in your life, but something that's not too drastic and that won't affect your life too much, I really encourage you to just give it a go, turn it off for one night and see if it makes any difference at all. Okay, that wraps this video up. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video and found value in it. I really, really enjoyed sharing this topic with you, sharing my story, and I hope that it can bring some positive change into your life, if that's what you want from this video. I upload new videos every Thursday and I really, really can't wait to see you on the next one. Bye!